Maya Chin was mid-slurp of her fourth mouthful of extra spicy beef instant noodles when her mother, Chin Liwei, slammed the front door of their 45-square-meter rental apartment so hard the flickering light bulb above their dining table vibrated dangerously, and Maya briefly calculated whether she'd have enough time to move her bowl before it crashed into her broth. She didn't look up. She knew exactly what this meant. Her mother had lost all their money at the underground mahjong parlor again, for the 19th time that month. "Daughter!" Chin Liwei yelled so loudly the neighbor's elderly poodle started yapping through the paper-thin walls. "Great news! We don't owe money anymore." Maya slurped the last curly noodle, wiped her mouth with the back of her hand, and stared at her mother with the kind of exhausted resignation that only came from 23 years of being raised by a gambling addict who had never once held a steady job. "Did you finally get a job?" Chin Liwei waved her hand like her daughter had suggested something absolutely preposterous. "Even better. I sold you." Maya's chopsticks clattered into the noodle bowl. Spicy soup splattered all over her gray cat print sweatpants, the ones with the hole in the left knee that she'd been meaning to patch for 6 months. "You, what? Sold me? To who? For how much?" 3 million yuan. To Lansu. Her mother's face was flushed with the manic excitement of someone who had just discovered that other people's children were a viable currency. "She's the richest alpha in the entire city. Bright blue hair. Ice queen reputation. Owns half the commercial real estate. I told her you can give her as many pups as she wants. She agreed to wipe all my debt." Maya stared at her mother for 10 full seconds, processing. Then, because she had always been the kind of person who coped with absolute disaster through inappropriate humor, she said, 3 million? I'm worth less than a second-hand Tesla. I checked. Used Model 3 goes for 3.2 million. You could have negotiated at least an extra 200,000. I could have had a lifetime matcha latte fund. Are you kidding me right now? I'm just saying. I could have come with a free extended warranty. Maybe a full tank of gas. Chin Liwei stared at her daughter like Maya was the insane one. What are you complaining about? Lansu is the most eligible alpha in the entire city. She's devastatingly handsome. Every Omega in the city would kill to date her. She owns half the commercial real estate. She never wears suits, only designer blazers with nothing underneath. And she's so cold and untouchable that people literally call her the Ice Queen. I told her you'd be perfect. Maya leaned back in her chair, her noodles forgotten. She knew exactly what her mother didn't know. 3 months ago, Maya had gone to the free clinic for persistent stomach cramps and unexplained fatigue. The doctor, a tired-looking beta woman with kind eyes, had looked at her test results, patted Maya's shoulder very gently, and told her she had less than a 1% chance of ever carrying a pregnancy to term. Something about her reproductive system being structurally incompatible with hormone therapy. Something about it being one of those rare cases where modern medicine couldn't do much. Maya had cried for 4 straight days. She'd eaten 14 boxes of red bean mochi while binge-watching terrible reality dating shows on her cracked phone screen. She'd texted her best friend at 3 a.m. saying, "I'm broken. No one's going to want me now. What's the point of being an Omega if I can't even do the one thing Omegas are supposed to do?" Her friend had sent back a string of supportive emojis and a link to a therapist who specialized in Omega reproductive trauma, which Maya had immediately closed because she couldn't afford therapy. Now she looked at her mother's gleeful, oblivious face and felt something cold settle in her chest. "You lied to her." "I didn't lie. You're young. You're healthy. You'll figure it out." "Mom." Maya's voice was flat. "I'm infertile. The doctor said I have 0 chance of ever having pups. When she finds out she paid 3 million for an Omega who can't give her what she wants, she's going to murder us both. Literally. She'll probably freeze us solid with her Ice Queen powers and then shatter us into 1,000 pieces." Chin Liwei waved her hand dismissively. "That's your problem, not mine. I already signed the contract. You move in tomorrow. Good luck." She grabbed her jacket, the one with the fake designer logo that was peeling off, and headed for the door. I'm going back to the parlor. I feel lucky. You literally just sold your daughter to pay off your debts. How much more luck do you need? The door slammed. Maya sat at the table for an hour, staring at her half-eaten noodles until they went soggy and the broth developed that unappetizing film on top. Then she started packing. Her luggage was simple. One small hard-shell suitcase covered in peeling travel stickers she'd bought at a discount store to make it look more interesting. Half of it was filled with frozen matcha powder she'd stockpiled in her tiny fridge. Her portable rice cooker that had seen better days, but still worked perfectly. Her favorite knit cardigans in various shades of gray and cream. Her collection of romance novels with shirtless men on the covers that she'd never admit to anyone she actually enjoyed reading. And her orange cat, Tofu, who was currently chewing on the strap of her suitcase with single-minded determination. Maya also put a return bus ticket in her wallet. Actually, she put 2 return bus tickets in case Tofu needed his own seat. She'd learned from experience that bus drivers in this city didn't care about emotional support animals unless they had a ticket. That night, Maya couldn't sleep. She lay on her thin futon mattress, staring at the water stain on the ceiling that looked vaguely like a sad duck, and wondered, what kind of person paid 3 million yuan for an omega they'd never even met? Was Lansu that desperate for pups? Was she so terrifying that no omega would date her willingly? Her mother had said she was handsome, but her mother also thought the knockoff designer bag she'd bought from a street vendor looked very authentic, so her judgment was questionable at best. Tofu climbed onto Maya's chest and started kneading her collarbone with his paws, purring like a small motorboat. What do you think, Tofu? Maya whispered. Think this alpha is going to murder us when she finds out I'm broken? Or maybe she'll just freeze us. That seems more her style, right? Ice Queen and all. Tofu meowed. Probably not, Maya interpreted. But pack the good matcha just in case. The next morning, Maya took the subway to the business district, then stood in front of Lansu Tower for a full 5 minutes, craning her neck back to count the floors. She lost count at 64. Her neck hurt. She took the elevator to the top floor, the 88th floor, which the display panel informed her was penthouse private, and got off at the end of a hallway so quiet she could hear her own heartbeat. There was only one door at the end. A massive black door that probably cost more than her entire year's rent. Maya knocked. The door opened. The first thing Maya saw was height. Lansu was at least 183 centimeters of it, all sharp angles and lean muscle wrapped in a cream-colored silk blazer with nothing underneath, just smooth, pale skin, and the faint outline of collarbones that could have been carved from marble. Her hair was the exact shade of cobalt blue that Maya had only ever seen in anime and expensive hair dye commercials, cut in a sharp, asymmetrical style that framed a face so perfectly symmetrical it was almost unsettling. Her eyes were the color of winter sky, pale, cold, utterly unreadable. She had a silver stud in her left ear and another in her eyebrow, and she was holding a neon green protein shake in one hand like it was a royal scepter. "You're the debt payment," Lansu said. Her voice was low, smooth, and absolutely devoid of warmth. Maya's brain short-circuited. She'd spent the entire subway ride preparing a speech about her infertility, about how she was sorry for the deception, about how she'd work for the rest of her life to pay back the 3 million if she had to. She'd practiced it in the mirror. She'd rehearsed it on the elevator ride up. But now, standing in front of this ridiculously attractive alpha who looked like she'd just stepped out of a high-fashion editorial, all of Maya's carefully prepared words evaporated. "Hi," Maya said. Then, because her brain had apparently decided to abandon all pretense of functionality, she added, "Your cheekbones are really sharp. Like, could cut glass sharp. I'm just saying. It's very structural. Architectural almost. Like a building. A very attractive building." Lansu blinked slowly. Her expression didn't change. Maya felt her face get hot. I'm going to stop talking now. Lan-Su stared at her for 3 very long seconds, then stepped aside to let her in. The penthouse was exactly as Maya had expected, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the entire city, minimalist black and white furniture that looked like it came from a magazine spread. No decorations except stacks of paperwork scattered on the glass coffee table. There wasn't a single throw pillow. Not a single photo frame. Not a single plant. It looked like the kind of place someone who never smiled would live in, cold, expensive, and emotionally unavailable. Maya put down her cat carrier. Tofu immediately jumped out, sniffed Lan-Su's expensive Italian leather shoe with suspicion, then decided her bare calf would make an excellent scratching post. Lan-Su didn't even flinch. She just looked at Maya with those pale winter sky eyes. Your mother told me you can give me as many pups as I want. Maya took a deep breath. Here it was. The moment she'd been dreading. She squared her shoulders, looked Lan-Su directly in the eye, and said, My mother lied. I'm infertile. The doctor said I have less than a 1% chance of ever having pups. Medically impossible, basically. I'm very sorry. If you want to send me back, I'll work to pay you back the 3 million slowly. Very slowly. Because I work at a convenience store and make 3,000 yuan a month, so it'll take me approximately 83 years, but I'll do it. I brought my return bus ticket in my wallet. 2 tickets, actually, because Tofu might need one. Maya waited for Lan-Su to get angry. She waited for her to yell, to call her mother, to throw her out, maybe to throw Tofu out too, and Maya would fight that because Tofu was innocent in all of this, and also he was very cute and didn't deserve to be homeless. Instead, something strange happened. The cold look on Lan-Su's face softened, just for a split second, into what looked suspiciously like relief. Perfect, Lan-Su said. Maya blinked. Perfect. Lan-Su nodded, taking a long sip of her protein shake. My grandmother has been pestering me to get mated and give her great-grandpups for 5 consecutive years. She calls me every Sunday at exactly 10 a.m. to yell at me for not settling down. Last month, she threatened to set me up on blind dates with every omega in the city. If you can't have pups, that's the best news I've heard in 5 years. She leaned against the marble counter, and Maya noticed she had a small black tattoo of a shark on her left ribcage, visible just above the edge of her blazer. Here are the terms of the agreement, Lan-Su continued. You stay here. You pretend to be my official mate in front of my family and all business associates. You get free room and board, 20,000 yuan allowance every month. Wait, your mother told me she'd negotiate for you, but she seemed distracted, so I'll make it 30,000. I'll cover all your expenses. You can order as much matcha as you want. I noticed the shipping label on your suitcase. We sleep in separate bedrooms. I will not touch you. My social life will not affect you, and I'll make sure no one bullies you. The only rule, do not ever, under any circumstances, ask me to button my blazers. Is that acceptable? Maya blinked for 10 full seconds, trying to process whether she'd somehow died in the elevator, and this was heaven. She'd been sold by her deadbeat gambling mother to a cold, ridiculously attractive alpha who apparently had commitment issues and a deeply specific thing against buttons, and this was the best job offer she'd ever received in her entire life. Deal, Maya said immediately, holding out her hand to shake. Also, I will never ask you to button your blazer. In fact, I'll personally cut the buttons off all your blazers if you want. I'm very good with scissors. My one question, though, why don't you button your blazers? Is it a fashion statement? Are you making a statement about the patriarchy? Because I support it. Lan-Su's face got a little awkward, which looked completely wrong on her usually cold features. Her ears turned slightly pink. I choked on a blazer button at a business gala when I was 24. I almost died. The paramedics had to fish it out of my throat in front of 300 people. A photographer took a picture of me on the floor turning blue. It was on the front page of the business section the next day. I swore I would never button a blazer ever again. I also hate suits. Maya nodded very seriously, trying not to laugh. Relatable. I choked on a red bean mochi last week. I also swore I'd never eat mochi too fast. I still eat it. Just slower. With smaller bites. Lan Su's lips twitched. Almost like she wanted to smile, but had forgotten how. The first week of living together was far less terrifying than Maya expected. Lan Su left for work at 6:30 a.m. every day, always in an unbuttoned blazer of a different color: white, cream, light blue, black, navy. Maya started leaving a plate of matcha cookies on the counter for her before she left, partly because she felt awkward eating Lan Su's food without contributing, and partly because she stress-baked at 2 a.m. in her massive new bedroom that was bigger than her old apartment. Lan Su would walk past the cookies without acknowledging them, her face cold and blank. But when Maya checked the counter after Lan Su came home, the plate was always empty. One day, Lan Su left a note. The cookies were acceptable. Make them again. Maya found out very quickly that Lan Su set the air conditioning in the penthouse to 16 degrees Celsius because she ran hot and refused to admit she got cold when she fell asleep while working on the couch at night. The first time Maya found her asleep on the couch at 2 a.m., papers scattered across her chest, shivering slightly in her sleep, Maya draped her softest gray knit cardigan over Lan Su's shoulders. The next morning, Lan Su acted like she didn't remember. But the cardigan was draped over the arm of her office chair for the next 3 days before it mysteriously appeared, washed and folded, on Maya's bed. Tofu very quickly decided that Lan Su's lap was the best heating pad in the entire penthouse. He would jump on Lan Su's lap whenever she sat on the couch to work, curl up on her stomach like a fuzzy orange croissant, and fall asleep immediately. Lan Su would pretend to be annoyed and complain that the cat was shedding orange hair all over her expensive blazers, but she never moved him. She would sit perfectly still for hours, one hand on her laptop, one hand unconsciously petting Tofu so she didn't wake him up. Maya took a photo once. Lan Su noticed and glared at her. Delete that. No, Maya said. This is blackmail material for when you try to kick me out. I'm not going to kick you out. Sure. Lan Su's ears turned pink. You make good cookies. That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me. The first time one of Lan Su's ex-flings showed up at the door was on a Thursday afternoon. Maya was in the kitchen attempting to make homemade mochi because she'd eaten through her frozen supply and the delivery was delayed. She was covered in rice flour, her hair was a disaster, and she was wearing her duck-shaped house slippers and an apron that said "Kiss the Cook" in glittery letters. An apron she'd found in the back of Lan Su's empty kitchen cabinet and had immediately adopted as her own. The doorbell rang. Maya opened it, holding a bowl of instant noodles in one hand because she'd gotten hungry mid-cooking, hot sauce smeared on her cheek. The person at the door was gorgeous. Tall, elegant, with perfectly styled hair and designer clothes and the kind of expensive perfume that probably cost more than Maya's entire year's salary. Maya recognized her immediately from gossip websites. Lin Shui, the top female model who'd been photographed with Lan Su at least a dozen times over the past year. She was an Omega, too, one of those impossibly beautiful Omegas who always looked like they'd just stepped out of a magazine. Lin Shui blinked at Maya, taking in the rice flour, the duck slippers, the instant noodles. Where's Lan Su? She's in the home gym. Her blazer is unbuttoned as usual. Do you want a pack of red bean mochi while you wait? I have the expensive kind from Hokkaido. Well, Lan Su has the expensive kind. She buys them for me. I'm eating them. Do you want one? Before Lin Shui could answer, Lan Su walked out of the gym, a towel around her neck, blazer fully unbuttoned, sweat glistening on her skin in a way that was frankly unfair. She saw Lin Shui and her face went immediately cold, colder than usual, which Maya hadn't thought was possible. What are you doing here? I told you we broke up 6 weeks ago. Lin Shue's eyes got wet. I missed you. I thought we could talk. Who is this? Some random Omega you brought home. Lan Su stepped next to Maya, close enough that Maya could smell her scent, something cold and clean, like snow and pine trees and expensive cologne. She's my mate. Leave. Lin Shui stared at Maya, still holding her instant noodle bowl, sauce on her cheek, rice flour in her hair, duck slippers. Her? You chose her over me? I was willing to quit my modeling career to take care of you. I even bought you custom-made blazers for you to wear to galas. 3-piece suits. Italian wool. Lan Su said, completely deadpan. She never asks me to button my blazer. Lin Shui froze for 3 full seconds, her face going through several emotions at once, confusion, disbelief, then dawning horror. Then she started crying and ran to the elevator, sobbing dramatically. Maya watched her go, then took a slurp of her noodles. Is that your standard breakup line? Do you use it for all your exes? Lan Su wiped the sweat off her jaw with her towel. 90% of my breakups end with that line. 9 out of 10 people I date eventually try to make me wear a suit and button my blazers. It gets very annoying very fast. Maya snorted, taking another slurp. Understandable. I would break up with someone if they tried to make me stop eating mochi. That's a fundamental incompatibility. Lan Su's lips twitched again. You have hot sauce on your face. I know. It's a fashion statement. This time, Lan Su actually smiled. Small, barely there, but real. The city's biggest gossip account posted a photo of Lin Shui leaving the building crying an hour later. The caption, Lan Su's new breakup line breaks records. Sources say she chose an Omega in duck slippers over the city's top model. What did she say this time? The comments were full of people guessing. Probably something about buttons again. I heard she once broke up with someone because they tried to give her a tie as a gift. No, I heard she broke up with someone because they suggested she wear a scarf. A scarf. Maya laughed so hard she snorted mochi out of her nose, which hurt but was absolutely worth it. The first time they had to go to Lan Su's grandmother's birthday dinner was a month after Maya moved in. Grandma Lan lived in a traditional courtyard house in the old part of the city, the kind with red pillars and a garden with a koi pond and blooming plum trees. She had silver hair pulled back in a tight bun, sharp eyes that missed nothing, and an apron that said "World's Best Grandma" in sparkly sequin letters. She opened the door when they arrived, took one look at Maya, and immediately pinched her cheek. Oh, you're so cute. Finally, Lan Su brought someone home who doesn't look like she's going to run away screaming after seeing her unbuttoned blazer. Come in, come in. I made your favorite dumplings, Lan Su. And I made red bean soup for you, Maya. Lan Su told me you like red beans. Maya blinked at Lan Su. You told her I like red beans? Lan Su's ears turned pink. You eat red bean mochi every day. It was a logical deduction. During dinner, halfway through the braised pork and steamed fish, Grandma Lan put down her chopsticks and looked at both of them with those sharp, knowing eyes. So, when are you two giving me great-grandpups? Maya panicked. She opened her mouth, immediately ready to tell her she was infertile, to apologize, to explain. But Lan Su cut her off before she could speak. We don't want pups. We're happy as we are. Grandma Lan snorted, taking a sip of her tea. Good. I don't care if you give me pups or not. I just wanted you to stop bringing home people who keep trying to make you button your blazers. The last Omega you brought home tried to sew extra buttons on all your blazers while you were sleeping. I had to kick her out myself at 3 a.m. She cried on my koi pond for an hour. Maya almost choked on her braised pork. She did what? Apparently, she thought if all the blazers had buttons, you'd have to button them eventually. Grandma Lan said. I told her that was the stupidest plan I'd ever heard. My granddaughter has been traumatized by buttons. We respect that in this family. Lan Su looked like she wanted to sink through the floor. On the drive home, in Lan Su's expensive car that was so quiet Maya could hear her own heartbeat. Maya looked at Lan Su. You didn't have to do that. I could have told her I'm infertile. Lan Su looked out the window at the city lights blurring past. It's none of her business. It's none of anyone's business. I don't care if you can have pups or not. Maya's face felt warm. She looked out the window too, so Lan Su wouldn't see her smiling like an idiot. The annual city business gala came 2 months later. Everyone expected Lan Su to wear a suit. She showed up wearing an open black silk blazer, tailored black pants, no suit jacket, no tie, as usual. She brought Maya as her plus one, and Maya wore the nicest outfit she owned, a cream-colored cashmere sweater and black pants that Lan Su had quietly left on her bed 3 days before with a note that said, "For the gala." They'll match my blazer. All the other CEOs stared when they walked in together. Wang Lan, Lan Su's biggest business rival, a middle-aged alpha with a beer belly and a superiority complex, walked over to them halfway through the night, holding a glass of champagne, smirking. Oh, Lan Su, I heard you bought this Omega to breed, right? She laughed, loud and obnoxious. I also heard she's infertile. What a waste of 3 million. You could have bought a dozen Omegas who can give you pups for that price. Or at least one who looks like she belongs at a gala instead of a convenience store. The temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. Lan Su's face got colder than Maya had ever seen it. She put her arm around Maya's waist, pulling her close. First of all, I didn't buy her. She's my partner. Second, she makes the best matcha mochi in the entire city. Third, she's the only person who has never once asked me to button my blazer. Fourth, she's worth more than your entire company combined. And fifth, I don't want pups. I want her. All the people standing around them went silent. You could have heard a pin drop on the marble floor. Wang Lan's face turned bright red with embarrassment. She opened her mouth, closed it, then walked away quickly, nearly tripping over her own feet. Someone started clapping. Then someone else. Then the whole room erupted in whispers. Maya's face was burning. You didn't have to. Yes, I did. Lan Su said quietly. She insulted you. No one insults you. Later that night, halfway through the gala, Maya saw Lan Su talking to a very pretty Omega with soft green hair and an elegant dress. Very seriously. Their heads were close together. They were standing by the floor-to-ceiling windows, and the Omega was smiling, touching Lan Su's arm. Maya's heart sank. Right. Lan Su was still a playboy or, well, a playgirl. Maya was just a fake mate. A convenient arrangement. Lan Su was going to replace her with someone who was actually worth 3 million yuan. Maya left the gala early, took a taxi home, and started packing her bags. She was halfway through packing her mochi stash, carefully wrapping each box in tissue paper to protect it, when the front door opened. Lan Su came in, still wearing her open black silk blazer, her blue hair a little messy from the wind. She saw Maya packing and stopped dead. What are you doing? Maya didn't look at her. She kept folding her sweaters. I saw you talking to that green-haired Omega. I know you're going to replace me. It's fine. I'll find a small apartment. I'll pay you back the 3 million slowly. I'll deduct the cost of all the mochi I ate these past few months from the first payment, and the cookies, and the rice, and the electricity I used for my rice cooker. It'll probably take me 100 years now, but I'll do it. Lan Su blinked. Then she sighed a long, tired sigh and walked over. She took the folded sweater out of Maya's hands. That Omega is the owner of the Uji matcha farm. I've been ordering matcha from her for years. I was asking her if she can reserve the limited edition first harvest matcha for your birthday next month. I was not flirting with her. I was ordering matcha for you. She showed me photos of the tea plants. It was very boring. I pretended to be interested because I want you to have good matcha. Maya blinked. Oh. Lan Su looked away, her ears turning pink. I don't want you as a fake mate anymore. I want you as my actual mate. I've been trying to figure out how to tell you for 3 months. Every time I try, I lose my nerve. Maya's heart was pounding so loud she was sure Lansu could hear it. What? I don't care that you're infertile. Lansu's voice was a little rough. I don't want pups. I want to eat your mochi for the rest of my life. I want you to leave cardigans on me when I fall asleep on the couch. I want tofu to keep sleeping on my lap and shedding orange hair on all my blazers. I want you to tell me my cheekbones are sharp and count my abs every time I walk through the door, even though I don't actually have visible abs right now because I've been stress eating your cookies for months, but you've never complained, so it's fine. I'll work out more. You have abs, Maya interrupted. I've seen them. You have like a 6-pack. Maybe 4. I'd have to check. Lansu laughed. It was the first unreserved laugh Maya had ever heard from her. You can check as many times as you want. For the rest of our lives. The first time Maya went into heat while living in the penthouse, it happened at the absolute worst possible moment. She'd been feeling off all day, feverish, restless, her skin too sensitive against her clothes. She'd assumed it was just the flu. She'd taken some cold medicine, curled up on her bed with tofu, and tried to sleep it off. But by evening, she knew exactly what was happening. Her heat had come early. Way early. Probably triggered by the stress of the gala, or the emotional upheaval of the past few months, or just her body deciding to betray her at the most inconvenient time possible. She tried to stay in her room. She locked the door. She pressed her face into her pillow and tried to breathe through the waves of heat that crashed over her, each one worse than the last. Her scent was flooding the room, sweet and overwhelming, the kind of omega heat scent that would drive any nearby alpha crazy. Lansu was nearby. Lansu was an alpha. Lansu was going to smell her. Maya heard footsteps in the hallway, then a knock on her door. Maya? Lansu's voice was strained. Are you okay? Your scent is, she cut herself off. I'm fine. Maya's voice came out as a whimper. Just stay away. I'm in heat. It's bad, and you're an alpha, and I don't want you to do something you'll regret just because of. The door opened. Lansu stood in the doorway, her face pale, her eyes dark, her blazer unbuttoned as usual, her breathing slightly faster than normal. I'm not going to do anything you don't want, Lansu said firmly. But I'm not going to leave you alone like this either. Let me help you. There's nothing you can do, Maya gasped, curling into herself. I just have to wait it out. It'll pass. Lansu walked over to the bed and sat down on the edge, careful to keep her distance. But even from a few feet away, Maya could smell her alpha scent, snow and pine and something darker underneath, something that made Maya's omega instincts scream closer, closer, closer. You're in pain, Lansu said quietly. I can smell it. Let me stay. Let me, she hesitated. I've never actually done this before. I've never been with an omega in heat. But I've read about it. I know that alpha scent can help. That omega instincts respond to being near a compatible alpha, Maya finished weakly. Yeah, I know. I've read about it too. But you don't have to. I want to. Lansu's voice was soft. I want to help you. I want to be here. But I won't touch you without your permission. I promise. Maya looked at her, really looked at her. Lansu was nervous, she realized. For the first time since Maya had met her, the Ice Queen was nervous. Her hands were clenched in her lap. Her ears were pink. She looked like she was trying very hard to be calm and collected and was failing miserably. Maya's heart ached. Okay, she whispered. Stay. Lansu stayed. The next 3 days were the most intense of Maya's life. Lansu brought her water and cold compresses and helped her through the worst of the feverish waves. Maya woke up crying in the middle of the night, disoriented and desperate, and Lansu was there immediately, pulling her into her arms, letting her scent wash over her like a calming blanket. It's okay, Lansu murmured against her hair. I'm here. You're safe. Maya pressed her face into Lan Su's neck, breathing in her alpha scent, feeling her omega instincts calm. It was too much, and not enough at the same time. She could feel Lan Su's heartbeat under her palm, steady and strong, and something in her chest cracked open. Lan Su, she whispered. I want. What do you want? Lan Su's voice was rough. Tell me. I want you to mark me. Lan Su went completely still. Are you sure? She asked, her voice barely a whisper. Maya, if I mark you, that's permanent. I know what it is. Maya looked up at her eyes wet with tears that weren't just from the heat. I'm not asking because of the heat. I'm asking because I love you. I've loved you for months. And I want everyone to know I'm yours. Lan Su stared at her for a long moment. Then she leaned down and pressed her forehead against Maya's. I love you too, she said. I love you so much it scares me. But I'm not going to mark you while you're in heat. Not like this. I need you to be clear-headed. I need you to be sure. And I need to do it right. Maya laughed weakly. You're such a good person. Do you know that? You're literally the most terrifying alpha in the entire city, and you're the best person I've ever met. Don't tell anyone, Lan Su said, and Maya could hear the smile in her voice. I have a reputation to maintain. After Maya's heat ended, after she was showered and fed and curled up on the couch with Tofu, exhausted but happy, Lan Su sat down next to her and took her hand. I meant what I said, Lan Su said quietly. I want to mark you. But I want to do it properly. Not during a heat. Not in a rush. I want to take you out on a real date. I want to court you properly, like you deserve. I want to ask you, officially, to be my mate. And then, when you say yes, I want to mark you in a way that you'll remember forever. Maya's eyes filled with tears. You're going to make me cry. Don't cry, Lan Su said, looking panicked. I'm not good with tears. I don't know what to do with them. Just hold my hand, Maya said, laughing through her tears. That's all I need. Their first official date was to a tiny matcha cafe in the old part of the city that Maya had been dying to try for years, but could never afford. Lan Su reserved the entire place, ordered every single item on the menu, and sat across from Maya with her unbuttoned blazer and her soft, almost smile. You didn't have to do all this, Maya said, looking at the spread of matcha lattes and cakes and pastries in front of her. I would have been happy with instant noodles and your couch. I know, Lan Su said. That's why I did all of this. You deserve to be spoiled. You deserve everything. Maya leaned across the table and kissed her. It was soft and sweet and tasted like matcha and promises. I love you, Maya said. Even when your blazer is unbuttoned and you're letting tofu shed all over your expensive furniture and you're pretending not to be a soft, emotional person, I love you. I love you too, Lan Su said, her ears turning pink. Even when you cover my counter in rice flour and steal my blankets and talk to your cat like he can understand you. He can understand me, Maya said. He's very smart. Tofu, who was currently sitting in Lan Su's lap, meowed in agreement. Lan Su's grandmother officiated the marking ceremony a month later in her courtyard garden under the plum trees. The flowers were in full bloom, pink and white petals falling like snow around them. Lan Su wore an open white silk blazer with nothing underneath. Maya wore a cream-colored dress that matched. Grandma Lan wore her world's best grandma apron and cried happy tears through the entire ceremony. I'm not crying, she insisted, dabbing at her eyes with a handkerchief. It's just the pollen. Allergies. Tofu was the ring bearer. He tried to eat the rings twice. Grandma Lan had to physically pry them out of his mouth. When it came time for the marking, Lan Su looked at Maya with those winter sky eyes, warm now with more emotion than they'd ever shown. Are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything in my life, Maya said. Lan Su leaned in and pressed her lips to the spot where Maya's neck met her shoulder right over her scent gland. She bit down gently, just enough to break the skin, and Maya felt the rush of alpha pheromones flood her system, binding them together in a way that was both ancient and deeply, profoundly right. Maya gasped at the sensation, the rush of scent and heat and connection. She could smell Lansu now, not just on the surface, but deep inside herself, and it felt like coming home. Her omega instincts sang with satisfaction. Finally, finally, finally. I can still taste your matcha latte from this morning, Lansu murmured against her skin. That's so romantic, Maya said, laughing. You're terrible at this. I'm an ice queen, Lansu said, pulling back with a smirk, a real smirk, the kind that made Maya's knees weak. I'm not supposed to be good at romance. You're good enough, Maya said, and kissed her again. That night, Maya lay on Lansu's chest in their shared bedroom. They'd finally moved into the same room a month ago, and Maya had never slept better in her entire life. Tofu was curled up on Lansu's other side, purring like a motorboat. Maya was eating red bean mochi, savoring each bite, even though she'd had about 12 of them already. You know, Maya said, chewing slowly, when my mother sold me because I'm infertile, I thought my life was over. I thought no one would ever want me because I couldn't give them pups. I thought I was broken. Useless. Lansu ran her fingers through Maya's hair, gentle and steady. It was the best thing that ever happened to both of us. If your mother hadn't sold you, I would have spent the rest of my life going to galas, choking on buttons, and dating people who kept trying to make me wear suits. I would have never gotten to eat your mochi. I would have never gotten to have you count my abs every morning, even though, as I mentioned earlier, I'm currently counting 3. 2. Maybe 1. I've been stress-eating your cookies. You have abs, Maya said. 3 is still abs. 3 is more than most people have. I love you, Lansu said, and Maya could hear the smile in her voice. I love you so much. Good, Maya said, settling more comfortably against her. Because you're stuck with me now. Forever. Lansu pressed a kiss to the top of her head. Forever. Tofu meowed in agreement. Outside, the city lights twinkled. Somewhere in the distance, a mahjong parlor closed for the night. Neither of them noticed. They were too busy being happy together, exactly as they were. 1 year later, Maya's mother showed up to their wedding reception, trying to sneak in through the back entrance. She'd apparently heard about the wedding through the gossip websites and decided to try her luck asking for more money. Lansu opened the door before Chenliwei could even knock. She was still wearing her open white silk blazer, looking cold and intimidating despite the wedding setting. Your daughter is now my wife, Lansu said flatly. You still owe me 3 million, plus interest, for all the emotional damage you caused her. Get out. Security will escort you. Also, we have cameras. If you try to come back, I'll have you arrested for trespassing. Chenliwei left, muttering about ungrateful children, and was never heard from again. Rumor had it she moved to another city and tried to sell someone else's daughter. It didn't work. She ended up getting a job at a car wash. Karma was beautiful. That night, Maya and Lansu lay tangled together in their bedroom. The penthouse was no longer cold and empty. It was full of Maya's cardigans and cookbooks and romance novels with shirtless men on the covers that Maya had finally admitted to reading. Full of Tofu's toys and scratching posts and shedding orange hair. Full of photos, Maya's phone screenshots of Lansu sleeping on the couch with the cat, Lansu's face in the background of every tourist photo, blurry pictures of them at the gala, at Grandma Lan's house, at the matcha cafe. It's been a year, Maya said quietly. The best year of my life. The first year of many, Lansu said. I'm going to make you happy for the rest of your life. I promise. I'm already happy. Maya pressed her hand over Lansu's heart. You don't have to promise anything else. Lansu kissed her, slow and sweet. How many abs am I at today? She asked, a teasing note in her voice. Maya slid her hand down Lansu's stomach, counting. 3, she reported. Still 3. I think the cookies are doing it for you. I'll work out more tomorrow. You'll do no such thing, Maya said. I like you the way you are. Lan-su kissed her again, deeper this time. I love you, Maya-chin. I love you too, Lan-su. Even when your blazer is unbuttoned and you're letting Tofu use you as a bed and you pretend you're not secretly the softest person I've ever met. Lan-su laughed, the sound warm and genuine. Don't tell anyone. Your secret's safe with me, Maya said. Forever. 2 years later. They were sitting in Grandma Lan's courtyard garden, drinking tea and watching Tofu chase a butterfly that had no idea it was being hunted by a very determined orange cat. Grandma Lan was in the kitchen, making her famous dumplings. The plum trees were in bloom again, petals falling like pink snow. Maya was 5 weeks late. She hadn't told Lan-su yet. She hadn't told anyone. She'd gone to the doctor 3 days ago, holding her breath, expecting the same old news, less than 1% chance, medically impossible, sorry, there's nothing we can do. But the doctor had looked at her test results, then looked at her, then smiled. Congratulations, she said. You're pregnant. Maya had cried in the doctor's office for 20 minutes. Then she'd called her best friend, who'd screamed so loud Maya had to hold the phone away from her ear. Then she'd gone home and sat on the couch, staring at Tofu, trying to figure out how to tell Lan-su. It wasn't supposed to be possible. Her doctor had said it was impossible. But here she was, 64 million cells dividing inside her, and the alpha who had chosen her despite her supposed brokenness was about to find out she wasn't broken at all. Lan-su came home from work that evening, unbuttoned blazer, tired eyes, hair a mess. She looked beautiful. She always looked beautiful. Maya was sitting on the couch, Tofu in her lap, trying to figure out how to start the conversation. Hey, Lan-su said, leaning down to kiss her forehead. You look like you're about to pass out. Are you okay? Maya took a deep breath. I need to tell you something. Lan-su sat down next to her, concern flickering across her features. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Maya took another breath. I went to the doctor. You know how I've been feeling weird lately. Are you sick? Lan-su's face went pale. Maya, if you're sick, we'll get you the best treatment. I don't care how much it costs. I'm not sick. Maya laughed, suddenly overwhelmed with emotion. I'm pregnant. Lan-su stared at her. Maya watched her process the words. She could practically see it, the gears turning in Lan-su's head, the disbelief slowly turning into something else. Your Lan-su's voice cracked. You're what? Pregnant, Maya repeated. I know it's impossible. I know the doctor said, but apparently I'm not impossible. I don't know how it happened. I don't know why it happened. But it happened. And I'm terrified, and I'm happy, and I'm so scared you're going to. Lan-su kissed her. It was desperate and fierce and full of every emotion Maya had ever seen in her. You're going to be a mother, Maya whispered against her lips. We're going to be mothers. Your scent, Lan-su said, pulling back, her eyes wide. I should have noticed. You smell different. Sweeter. I thought it was just the matcha. Blaming the matcha, Maya said, laughing through her tears. Classic. I don't care, Lan-su said. I don't care how it happened. I don't care about the odds. I want this. I want you. I want everything with you. Maya laughed again, overwhelmed by joy. Also, my mother is going to lose her mind when she finds out. She sold me for 3 million because she thought I was infertile, and now I'm actually pregnant, Lan-su said, like she was testing the word. I love you. I love you so much. I love you too, Maya said. Even when your blazer is unbuttoned and you're crying and pretending you're not crying. I'm not crying, Lan-su said, wiping her eyes. It's just the pollen. There's no pollen in here, Maya said. We're in the penthouse. On the 88th floor. Allergies, Lan-su said, and kissed her again. 3 months later. Grandma Lan burst into the penthouse without knocking, holding a massive gift bag and crying tears of joy. I heard. I'm going to be a great grandmother. Oh, my beautiful granddaughter and her beautiful wife and their beautiful baby. Grandma, Lan-Su said, exasperated. You have to knock. We have a doorman. We have security. I have a key. Grandma Lan said triumphantly. The building manager gave it to me. I told him I was your grandmother and that I was going to be a great grandmother, and he was so excited he gave me a key and a coupon for the building spa. I'm not going to use it because I have my own spa, but it was the thought that counted. Maya laughed, pulling Grandma Lan into a hug. Thank you, Grandma. Thank you for everything. You're welcome, sweetheart, Grandma Lan said, squeezing her tight. I knew you were the right one from the very first moment. Anyone who's willing to put up with my granddaughter's unbuttoned blazers and cold personality is a keeper. Grandma Lan-Su said. I'm right here. I know, Grandma Lan said. That's why I said it. 6 months later. Maya couldn't sleep. She was too big now, too uncomfortable, too full of anxious anticipation. The baby was due any day. The nursery was ready, all soft cream and pale blue, with a tiny bookshelf full of fairy tales, and a rocking chair that Lan-Su had spent 3 weeks building with her own hands. Tofu had claimed the baby's crib as his own personal napping spot. Lan-Su had given up trying to shoo him out. You're thinking too loud, Lan-Su murmured from the bed. She was already half asleep, her hair mussed, her blazer thrown over the armchair in its usual unbuttoned state. I'm thinking about the baby, Maya said. I'm thinking about what kind of mother I'm going to be. I'm thinking about. Lan-Su reached for her, pulling her into her arms. You're going to be a wonderful mother, she said softly. You're already a wonderful mother. You love our baby so much. I can feel it. Our baby can feel it. What if I'm not good enough? Maya whispered. What if I? You're enough, Lan-Su said. You've always been enough. Even when you thought you were broken, you were enough. Even when your mother sold you like you were nothing, you were enough. You were enough for me. You'll be enough for our baby. You'll be more than enough. Maya pressed her face into Lan-Su's neck, breathing in her scent, letting herself be held. I love you, she said. I don't know what I'd do without you. Good thing you'll never have to find out, Lan-Su said. 9 months later. The baby came on a Wednesday, a tiny, perfect girl with wisps of blue hair and Maya's warm brown eyes. She screamed when she was born, a healthy, demanding sound that filled the room. Maya cried. Lan-Su cried. Even Grandma Lan, who was waiting in the hallway and burst in the moment she heard the first cry, cried. She's beautiful, Maya said, cradling her daughter in her arms. Look at her. She's so tiny. She has your hair. She has your heart, Lan-Su said, her voice thick with emotion. She has your whole heart. I love her, Maya whispered. I love her so much I can't even breathe. That's what being a mother feels like, Grandma Lan said, dabbing at her eyes with her handkerchief. It never goes away. It just gets bigger and bigger until you think you're going to explode with it. Tofu jumped onto the bed and sniffed the baby. He sat down next to her, purring loudly, like he was welcoming her into the family. She has Tofu's approval, Maya said, laughing. That's the most important thing. What's her name? Grandma Lan asked. Maya looked at Lan-Su. They'd talked about it for months, debated names in the middle of the night, looked at baby name books and argued about meanings. See you, Lan-Su said quietly. It means moonlight. Because she's our light in the darkness. Maya kissed her wife, her daughter's tiny fingers wrapped around her thumb. See you, she repeated. Perfect. 5 years later. Siu was a whirlwind of blue hair and boundless energy, a tiny alpha with her mother's cold exterior and Maya's chaotic heart. She was currently trying to teach Tofu, who was now an old, dignified cat, how to play dress-up. Tofu was submitting to the indignity with the long-suffering patience of a feline who had long since accepted his fate. Mama! Mama! Look at Tofu. He's wearing a crown. Siu yelled, holding up the cat, who had a tiny paper crown perched awkwardly on his head. Very regal, Maya said, taking a photo. He looks like the king he's always thought he was. Lansu walked in from the kitchen, unbuttoned blazer, coffee in hand. She'd still never buttoned a blazer in her life, and she never would. The crown is crooked, she observed. Moo, you're supposed to say it looks good. Siu said, stomping her tiny foot. You're supposed to be supportive. I am supportive, Lansu said. I'm supporting you by telling the truth. The crown is crooked. Siu huffed, then turned to Maya. Mama, Moo is being mean again. Your mother is not being mean, Maya said. She's just honest. You should appreciate honesty. It's a good quality to have. You're supposed to take my side. Siu said dramatically. Your mother is my alpha, Maya said, grinning at Lansu. I'm on her side by default. It's in the mating contract. Mating contracts are made to be broken, Siu said, which was definitely something she'd picked up from watching too many reality TV shows with Grandma Lan. Lansu walked over and kissed the top of her daughter's head. I love you, she said. Even when you're being dramatic. Especially when you're being dramatic. I'm not dramatic, Siu said. I'm passionate. There's a difference. Maya laughed, pulling both her wife and her daughter into a hug. Tofu squirmed out of Siu's grip and jumped away, finally free from his royal duties. Wait. Tofu. You have to come back. You're the king. You have responsibilities. Siu chased after him, and the penthouse was filled with the sounds of a little girl and an old cat, both making happy chaos. Lansu looked at Maya, her winter sky eyes full of warmth. This is everything I never knew I wanted. Me too, Maya said. When my mother sold me, I thought my life was over. Instead, it was just beginning. I love you, Lansu said. I've told you this, right? At least 10 times a day, Maya said. But I never get tired of hearing it. Siu came running back, Tofu in her arms again. Mama. Moo. Tofu wants to have a tea party. We need to make him a tiny cup of tea. Tofu doesn't drink tea, Lansu said. Then he can have milk. Tofu is lactose intolerant. Then he can have water. Let's make him some water, Maya said, laughing. And we'll have a proper tea party. All of us. The penthouse was warm and full of noise and life. The baby books were scattered across the coffee table. The romance novels with shirtless men were on the bookshelf. The rice cooker was making a happy bubbling sound from the kitchen. The photos on the walls showed a wedding, a birth, a family. Maya Chen had been sold for 3 million yuan because she was infertile and useless. She had been told she was broken, that no one would ever want her, that she was worth less than a used car. She had been wrong. Here she was, with her alpha and her daughter and her cat, in a penthouse full of matcha cookies and unbuttoned blazers, and love, so big it filled every corner of the room. She had found her home. She had found her family. She had found everything she'd ever wanted, not despite her supposed brokenness, but because of it. Sometimes, the best things in life happened when you least expected them. Sometimes, being sold for 3 million yuan was the best thing that could ever happen to you. Extra story. The penthouse smelled like burnt sugar and disaster. Maya Chen stood in the middle of the kitchen, flour dusting her gray cat print sweater like she'd lost a fight with a bag of confectioner's sugar, her hair somehow managing to look both disheveled and vaguely majestic. Tofu was perched on the counter, a position he knew he wasn't supposed to be in, watching her with the judgmental squint of a cat who had seen too many baking attempts go wrong. It's fine, Maya announced to no one in particular. It's completely fine. I meant to do that. The burnt sugar smell was coming from the saucepan she'd abandoned on the stove 5 minutes ago, after she'd gotten distracted by a text from her best friend and forgotten to stir. The matcha mochi she'd been attempting, the special anniversary batch, the one she'd spent 3 hours planning, the one she was supposed to present to Lansu as a surprise, was now a sad, slightly scorched lump in the bottom of a mixing bowl. Tofu meowed. It sounded suspiciously like I told you so. Don't start with me, Maya said, pointing a flour-covered spatula at him. You're the one who distracted me by shedding on the ingredients. I'm pretty sure I found an orange cat hair in the matcha powder, and I still kept going. I'm a trooper. I'm dedicated. The front door opened. Maya froze. Lansu wasn't supposed to be home for another 2 hours. Maya had specifically planned this entire disaster, this surprise, around Lansu's very predictable work schedule. Her wife was a creature of habit. She left at 6:30 a.m. She came home at 7:30 p.m. She never deviated from this schedule unless someone was literally dying or there was a business emergency that required her cold, unblinking presence. Lansu walked into the penthouse, unbuttoned white blazer, tired eyes, hair slightly mussed from the wind, and stopped dead at the sight of the kitchen. What happened to the kitchen? Maya set down the spatula with as much dignity as she could muster. Nothing happened to the kitchen. The kitchen is fine. The kitchen is having a great day. It smells like something died in here. Something didn't die. Something just transformed into a new form. A different form. The form of disappointment. Lansu walked closer, her heels clicking on the marble floor. Her face was unreadable. It was always unreadable. That was kind of her whole thing. But Maya had been married to her for 3 years now, and she could see the tiny signs. The slight tilt of her head. The almost imperceptible twitch at the corner of her mouth. Are you baking? Lansu asked. Because I specifically told you that I would take you out for dinner tonight. I made reservations. I ordered you that expensive matcha souffle you like. I literally texted you this morning and reminded you not to do anything. You texted me, Maya said, and I said, okay, with a smiley face emoji. That was me agreeing. That was me saying I understood. But then I woke up and I thought. You thought you'd surprise me with homemade mochi. It's our anniversary. Maya threw her hands up. Our 3rd anniversary. I wanted to do something special. I wanted to make you something from my heart. Something that says, I love you and I appreciate you and you're the best alpha anyone could have asked for, even though you still refuse to button your blazers after all these years. 3 years, Lansu interrupted, and now she was definitely smiling. That tiny, barely there smile that she reserved exclusively for Maya. You've been trying to get me to button my blazers for 3 years. I haven't been trying. I've been suggesting. There's a difference. You literally cut the buttons off a 100,000 yuan blazer last month. That was a gift from someone else. It was a test. I was being supportive. Lansu laughed, a quiet, warm sound that always made Maya's heart do something stupid in her chest. It was the laugh that Maya had worked so hard to coax out of her, the one that had been buried under years of business galas and choking on buttons and dating people who wanted her to be someone she wasn't. You're ridiculous, Lansu said, pulling her into a hug. The flower immediately transferred to her unbuttoned blazer, leaving white handprints on the cream silk. You're covered in flour. You're literally the messiest person I've ever met. I'm a creator, Maya said into her shoulder. Creators are messy. Art is messy. Love is messy. Love is also not burning down the kitchen. I didn't burn anything down. I just singed it a little. The mochi is fine. The mochi is, Maya pulled back and looked at the mixing bowl. Okay, the mochi is not fine. The mochi is very not fine. But I was going to try again. I had a backup plan. The backup plan was the matcha cookies. And then the backup for the backup was the instant noodles, because I can always make instant noodles. Lansu pressed a kiss to her forehead, leaving a faint mark on her skin. I love you. I love you so much that I'm going to say this without any sarcasm at all. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. Even when you set the kitchen on fire. I didn't set anything on fire. Your hair is slightly singed. What? Maya reached up and touched her hair, panicked. Oh my God, my hair. Lansu laughed again, pulling her closer. It's fine. It's not singed. I was joking. But you should have seen your face. That's so mean. That's so genuinely mean. That's the meanest thing you've ever said to me, And you once told me you'd rather eat a button than wear a suit to your grandmother's birthday party. That's not mean. That's just honesty. Lan-su. It's our anniversary, Lan-su said softly, and suddenly all of Maya's protests died in her throat. I don't care about the mochi. I don't care about the burnt sugar. I care about you. I care about being with you. I care about the fact that 3 years ago, you walked into my penthouse with a cat and a suitcase full of matcha, and you told me you were broken, and you changed my entire life. Maya felt her eyes get wet. You're going to make me cry. I'm already a mess. I'm covered in flour and failure. If I cry, I'm going to get flour in my eyes, and it's going to burn, and it's going to be a whole thing. Lan-su kissed her. It was soft and warm and tasted like the matcha latte that Lan-su had been drinking on her way home, and Maya melted into it like she always did. You, Maya said against her lips, are the best alpha in the entire world. You know that, right? I know, Lan-su said, and there was a smile in her voice. But I don't mind hearing it again. 2 hours later, Maya had showered and changed into her favorite cream-colored sweater, and Lan-su had put on a fresh unbuttoned blazer, a deep blue one that matched her hair, and they were sitting in a tiny matcha cafe in the old part of the city, the one they'd been to on their first official date. The cafe was empty. Lan-su had reserved the entire place, just like she had 3 years ago. The same table by the window. The same view of the old street, with its lanterns and cobblestones and wandering cats. The same menu, with the same matcha lattes and cakes and pastries that Maya had been obsessed with since she was a teenager. Full circle, Maya said, looking around. You really planned this. Of course I did. Lan-su reached across the table and took her hand. I'm a planner. It's one of my few good qualities. You have many good qualities, Maya said. You're just too emotionally constipated to admit them. I'm not emotionally constipated. I'm selectively emotionally expressive. That's literally the same thing. It's not. It literally is. Lan-su squeezed her hand, and Maya felt that familiar warmth spread through her chest, the warmth that had been there since the very beginning, since the first moment she'd stood in Lan-su's penthouse and told her she was infertile and Lan-su had said perfect. Do you remember the first time we came here? Lan-su asked. Of course I remember. You ordered everything on the menu. I thought I was going to eat myself into a sugar coma. You told me I deserved to be spoiled, and I almost cried. You did cry. I did not cry. You cried. I have photos. You do not have photos. I have a whole album on my phone that's just photos of you crying. That's so creepy. That's genuinely. Lan-su laughed, that soft, warm laugh that Maya would never get tired of hearing. It's our anniversary. I'm allowed to be creepy. I'm going to take Tofu and move out. You'd never leave Tofu. He's too attached to me now. He sleeps on my lap every night. Traitor cat, Maya muttered. I raised him. I fed him. I took him to all his vet appointments. And then you came along with your unbuttoned blazers and your abs. I don't have abs anymore. I've been stress eating your cookies. 3 is still abs. 3 is more than most people have. Lan-su smiled, a real smile, the kind that transformed her cold features into something soft and almost boyish. I love you, Maya-chan. I don't tell you enough. Yes, you do. You tell me every day. Sometimes twice. Still not enough. Maya squeezed her hand back. I love you too. And not just because you buy me matcha lattes. Although that's a big part of it. Of course it is. Also because you're hot. That's important. Lan-su laughed again. Are you ever going to stop calling me hot? Never. It's in the vows. I promise to love you forever. I didn't promise not to tell you you're hot on a regular basis. The matcha souffle arrived, perfect and fluffy and green, and Maya's eyes lit up in a way that always made Lan-su's heart ache. Happy anniversary, Lan-su said. Happy anniversary, Maya echoed, picking up her spoon. To many more years of unbuttoned blazers and burnt mochi and cats who refuse to respect my kitchen boundaries. To many more years, Lansu said, of finding someone who loves you exactly as you are. They walked home through the old city, hand in hand, the lanterns casting warm golden light across the cobblestones. It was spring, and the cherry blossoms were starting to bloom, petals drifting down like pink snow. The city was quiet and beautiful, and Maya felt that familiar rush of gratitude, the one that still hit her sometimes, unexpectedly, when she realized that this was her life now. No more cramped apartments with flickering light bulbs. No more wondering where her mother had gone, how much debt she'd racked up, what new disaster was waiting around the corner. No more feeling broken and useless and worthless. Just Lansu. Just tofu. Just the penthouse and the matcha and the unbuttoned blazers. Hey, Maya said, tugging on Lansu's hand to stop her. Lansu turned, her blue hair catching the lantern light. What? Thank you. For what? For not caring. For not caring that I was infertile. For not caring that my mother sold me. For not caring that I was a disaster who burned mochi and talked to her cat and wore sweatpants with holes in them. Lansu pulled her into a hug, right there in the middle of the street. I did not care about you being infertile, she said softly. I did not care about you being a disaster. I cared about all of it. I just didn't care about the parts that other people told you made you less. Because they don't. You're not less. You've never been less. You're everything. Maya pressed her face into Lansu's neck, breathing in her scent, snow and pine and something warm underneath that was just Lansu. I love you, Maya said. I love you too, Lansu said. Now can we go home? Tofu is probably worried. And also I need to change my blazer. Why? It looks fine. It has flour on it. Leave it, Maya said, pulling back and grinning. It's a fashion statement. Lansu rolled her eyes, but she was smiling. Fine. But I'm not wearing it to work tomorrow. You're wearing it to work tomorrow. I'll hold your hand until you agree. Emotional blackmail? Absolutely. Lansu leaned down and kissed her. I love you. Even when you're a menace. Thank you, Maya said, and kissed her back. I love you too. They walked home through the cherry blossoms, hand in hand, the city warm and golden around them. Tofu was waiting at the door, sitting on his haunches, looking deeply offended that they'd left him alone for so long. He meowed loudly, then trotted into the kitchen and sat down in front of the mixing bowl, which Maya had conveniently left on the counter. You want the burnt mochi? Maya asked. It's burnt. It's not even good. Tofu meowed again, more insistently. Fine, Maya said, laughing. You can have the burnt mochi. But if you get sick, I'm taking you to the vet. And I'm making you pay for it. Tofu doesn't have money, Lansu said. He should. He's a cat. He should be contributing to the household. I don't think that's how it works. Nothing about this family has ever worked the way it's supposed to, Maya said, pouring the burnt mochi into a bowl. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Tofu ate the mochi. Lansu wrapped her arms around Maya from behind, resting her chin on her shoulder. The penthouse was warm and full of the smell of cherry blossoms from the open window. The city lights twinkled below them, countless and distant, like stars that had fallen to earth. Happy anniversary, Maya said softly. Happy anniversary, Lansu said, and pressed a kiss to her cheek. Outside, the cherry blossoms continued to fall, and somewhere in the distance, a mahjong parlor closed for the night. But neither of them noticed. They were too busy being happy together, exactly as they were. The end.